welcome everyone to episode 14 of Stay on Target, the official Hazard Time podcast. I'm your host, Liam, and I'm joined today by my co-hosts, Dmitri and Richard. How you doing today, guys?
Fine.
Whatever. I'm home finally, so that's nice.
It's
Are
good.
you happy to be home? Like, did it feel good, like, laying in your room that was not moved at all?
Mostly, yeah.
My childhood
mean-
memories.
It's good to be off the road finally, and yeah, I mean that's nice. But now I have to, figure out what I'm doing. So
So the topic for today's video is Legos.
Oh my god, what a stupid topic.
such a dumb topic. Oh my god,
Oh, jeez.
Liam, you're an idiot.
You guys are idiots.
All right, so actually, we're gonna talk about the Democratic Party.
I'd rather
Hey,
Legos.
we could. We could if you wanted to.
How are they similar?
Legos and Democrats.
When I step on them, they hurt my foot.
They're made of plastic. Could that be some veiled insult?
Maybe, is it? Say it to my
You're
face.
made of plastic.
I mean, I feel like that's a typical insult when you're talking about like
You're plastic.
Botox.
About what?
Botox or Botox. Botox. What am I? Botox.
Yeah, I mean, you're plastic, man, Richard.
Fake nerd.
Fake nerd.
What?
Fake nerd. That's what you are. You're a fake nerd.
Are you calling
Yeah.
me a fake nerd?
Yeah, fake
Yes.
nerd.
Why
You
am I
wanna-
a fake
You want to
nerd?
fight about it?
What does that even mean?
Did you guys have Legos as kids?
I did, of course. You know what? Actually, it's funny that you bring this up because Liam, I have a gripe with you
Oh boy, what?
about Legos, and I've never told you this story.
Oh boy.
Yeah, bring it up. Come on, let it out.
So
Let the anger flow through you.
when we were kids at St. Mary's, Liam and I were friends, and we were basically it. I mean, there was the two of us, and occasionally Chris had
Very
friends
good
come in,
story.
and Aaron Kelly might come in once in a while, but I mean, that was basically it. It was just the two of us.
Surprised you remember those days.
What is that supposed to mean? Anyway, I remember one time I went to sleep over at your house, and while I was there, you had way more Legos than I ever did, and you
You know,
also subscribed to the Lego magazine.
of course.
Well, they like send it to you for free.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought it was free.
No, whatever. I didn't get it sent to me.
Well, Richard,
So-
that's because you didn't buy enough Legos.
Yeah, I guess so.
You weren't
Anyway.
an esteemed customer.
The point is, I was staying over at your house one time, and we were young, and you
Wait,
had the
before you go any further, I'm gonna say I sympathize with you, Richard, or maybe I guess I empathize with you because I'm pretty sure the exact same thing happened at Jack's house with me. Continue.
Well, let's just hear me out.
Okay.
Um. Anyway, I was interested in this magazine, so I started reading it, and I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. I mean, obviously, I was a child, so I wasn't saying it like that, but I thought it was really cool, and it was like it was like a whole Star Wars issue, and there's all these cool Star Wars sets in it and stuff. And when you're a kid, you're never gonna buy. Well, at least for me, I knew I was never once going to be able to actually own any of that stuff, but just looking at it was good enough. They were cool. And I said to Liam, "Oh man, these are really cool," or whatever I said. Anyway, you came. I had a Lego set at home that I have shown you, and it was Cantina.
Stuff.
It was the Star Wars Cantina set. It came with a land speeder and a dewback and some stormtroopers and Greedo and Luke Skywalker.
Punta, punta, solo.
Something else. I don't know. Anyway, you offered up an idea that was like a temporary trade. How about
Oh
next
boy.
time I'll bring that Lego set to your house, and in exchange, and you can have it for like a week. And in exchange, I can take that magazine and have it for a week.
That's a terrible trade.
It was a terrible trade, but I did it. And guess what? I never got back.
You know, I think last time I went to Liam's house, I commented on his great looking cantina set.
Have I ever gotten that Lego magazine back?
Oh.
Yes. I gave it back to you the next week.
I don't know about that.
I did.
Why didn't you get your set back then, Esther?
Because I gave him back the magazine, and I was like, "Where's my Lego set?" And you're like, "Oh, I don't know."
What you probably scrapped it in like the bin of Legos.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened.
So that wasn't like, you know, my problem at all. So Liam, where's this cantina
What were
set?
you talking about with Jack Everett?
Well, it's
Yeah.
I'll tell you. To be honest, it's also possible that it got thrown out.
Why? Who? Like it was a full set.
Because like it was like a whole thing. My dad would sometimes like throw out Lego sets
You told me that actually. I think you said you. I think you did tell me that it might have been thrown out.
because that's just something my dad would do a while back there. Like, and this room's messy, and throw this in the trash. Now it's clean.
All right, Liam. We need the fridge moved up the stairs. Come on, let's go.
We gotta go measure the hallway.
All right. Put the fridge on your back. We gotta lift it up.
Ugh.
So that's the most likely scenario of what happened to it. It just got thrown away.
Yeah, well, now I know never to trade my personal belongings with you. When you say, "Oh, you'll get it back," no, you won't.
I mean, that could still be here somewhere. Like it could be disassembled somewhere. I'd have to look at the set. I feel like I know what set you're talking about too. There've been a couple Cantina sets.
Well, it was the Cantina set from like 2004, so
Well, it's crappy anyway.
Yes. Very outdated.
Legos have like exponentially gotten better.
oh, I
Yes,
was worse.
yes and no. They've gotten better, but then they've also gotten worse at the same time.
How? It just seems
What
like they
irritates me most about Legos now is just how intricate and like
Yeah.
all the pieces are specialized now. And
Okay,
stuff.
well, I guess I understand how that would be a bad thing, but like, I guess everything is just much more accurate, and like, there is so many more opportunities to make things because of all the specialized pieces.
Yeah, but that's just I think part of the it's kind of like Minecraft. Hear me out. Where like everything is blocks, right?
Well, you can
So
buy Minecraft Lego
what
sets, Richard.
you
So if
can
you
do,
like it,
what would you say?
I said you can buy Minecraft Lego sets. So if you want that, just buy those.
No, but all I mean is what's so interesting about say Minecraft to people, I think, is exactly what Legos used to be, but no longer are, which is like yeah, building a Millennium Falcon out of a set that has all these pieces designed to look like the Millennium Falcon doesn't do
Yeah.
anything for me because it's like of course it looks like the Millennium Falcon. You're using pieces
Right?
from the Millennium Falcon, but if you could do it out of just square gray blocks, then
Yeah,
that's impressive.
I agree. That's good explanation.
I wouldn't agree with that sentiment. I don't think
What's
what
your
you're
take then, Liam?
well. I think a lot of the problem with uh, a lot of problem with Lego is there is a little laziness
Oh,
from Lego when they're making stuff, and then the
Opposite of what I'm saying.
yeah. Well, in a way, I mean, it's kind of lazy that they would just make the Death Star, just make, like that. That's easier for them to just make a special piece that just, fits where it should instead of like doing the, engineering to actually make it make it work.
well, I'm just completely dismissing what Richard was talking about
All
because
right.
I
Okay.
think I'm right, but
that's like really not the case.
Now,
It
after
is-
that, after Liam dismissed you, I'm agreeing with him.
And when I mean like the laziness, it it mostly comes down to reusing and recycling stuff with minifigures in particular,
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew it was gonna be something about minifigures.
and
I,
especially recycling ideas for sets. Like, like there have been like 7 A-wings or something, and
Well, okay, here's the thing. I think I agree more with Richard because it seems like what you're talking about is just Star Wars.
well, no, I'm saying, well, I mean that's that's almost like better because if you're talking about like city or something, it's always going to be a fire truck. There's not a lot of variety there.
I mean, I guess so, but the amount of different Lego sets that they have now, different uh like topics that they do, I think is a lot more than what they used to.
Yeah.
But like I guess I don't know. I never had Legos. So.
Well, I told you it's better, and it is better and not better at the same time, because there's definitely like faults and problems.
Now, see, this is what I was saying about the Democratic Party.
Because recently we got set photos of the Ultimate Collector's Edition Star Destroyer, and this thing is huge and it looks great, but there are some problems. It's a little bit expensive. uh there's only 2 minifigures and neither of them are named characters. It's like an Imperial officer and an Imperial engineer.
yeah, but
I feel like,
why would it name
like if you're going,
Star Destroyer set?
well, yeah, I feel like the Star Destroyer is meant for a different crowd.
I, like the older crowd of Legos still care about minifigures. Trust me.
Well, I think there's a bunch of different sects within Lego.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I feel like all of them really do care about minifigures, though.
But there are a lot of groups that don't. Like they don't care about it.
I wouldn't agree with that, but
Yeah, wow. So, has anybody seen Joker?
it hasn't
Is
come
it
out to
out
theaters
yet?
yet.
It hasn't come out yet.
No,
Oh,
not until
no, I saw
October.
reviews for it on like Letterbox, and I heard about it on the radio. So I guess
I'm
it was the Toronto Film Festival. I guess it's
Yeah.
showed at.
Oh,
I sent a link to the new Imperial Star Destroyer that was come out.
okay.
But see, like none of these pieces were designed for this set.
God.
Yeah, but they were designed for other Star Destroyer sets, and
No,
some of them
th-
were. There's
th-
so many more specific pieces now than ever before.
they just have more pieces that just allows for whatever you're building to be more detailed.
Right, they have more pieces, but why? Like at one point, that means that those pieces were new. And
Yeah,
each time
that's a good
pieces are new,
thing.
it's because they're making all these new pieces because they don't want to just make sets out of. I think it stifles creativity.
Well, I mean,
I think it increases creativity because you got more options of what you can
well, that's
do.
what
I
I
mean,
was kind of
would you
saying.
rather
Is that,
have would you rather have a box of 12 crayons or a box of 64 crayons?
well, what is it? Like art thrives when it's closed in or something.
Yeah, the limitations are creativity. I know what you're talking about. I forget what
Yeah, like
the
the more
that creativity is not stifled, but instead strengthened by limitations,
yeah.
which I agree with.
But I mean, I guess I see kind of in a way I kind of agree because like it's a star destroyer. If you could build it out of what you had, people wouldn't buy the star destroyer. Like they I feel like these people that are buying the star destroyer are buying it because they want to build a star destroyer and then display it.
Yeah.
Like they don't care about having these extra pieces. They want to build it to have this Lego Star Destroyer for their collection.
But
That's true.
the pieces in this, like, I don't think there's a single piece that you couldn't find in another set, or another theme. Like, you could find it in superheroes or city or Batman or whatever.
I doubt that.
I and Lego is also what they'll do if they will introduce a piece specifically in a set. They'll make sure to reuse it later in other
Well, yeah,
sets too,
I'm
because
not
they've
saying
got that mold.
sets just have pieces that are only in that set and then never seen again. I just am saying that they're introducing too many new pieces.
I
And
think that's
anytime
bad.
they come up with it, anytime they have a problem now, where like everything can be done in Legos now without having to look too crude or anything, because if there's a problem, there's a Lego piece for it.
I think
If
that's
there's a
like
problem, I got a
that's
Lego piece.
better. It gives you more.
We're in Lego for different things, you know. I like seeing what
Richard
you do with.
Richard isn't the average Lego builder. Man, why wouldn't it
Yeah.
turn into a Lego podcast?
What?
When did it turn into a Lego podcast? I don't want to talk
Since
about
since you guys didn't want to pick a
Well,
topic, this
we picked the topic. It was the Democratic
like
Party.
this.
We would have meandered faster on that one.
Yeah, that's true. We would have. You're right. You're right. I agree with you. I'm with you. There's, the Democratic, the most recent Democratic debate is happening right now as we speak.
Who cares?
You just said.
I know.
I'm sorry,
who's
guys, but
is-
you reached your limit for complaining. You have just no room to complain about the podcast topics, because you never contribute them. So it's just
Right,
kind of,
well, right now, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just letting Dmitri know that it is happening
is there
right
anybody that is there anybody that can beat Trump?
now. Most of
No.
them, actually. The most recent poll.
I
Say
don't
that-
know.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I'm pretty not optimistic about it either, but technically,
See, I feel like there isn't a strong candidate. Like, there's not going to be a. I mean, I guess we won't know until like it gets weeded out. But it just doesn't seem like anybody has the following that Trump has when it's split down the middle.
well, yeah, you're partially right there, but not entirely. Recent polls suggest that 6 of the candidates would beat Trump in a one-on-one.
Yeah,
How
I want
accurate
to talk.
that is, I don't know, but
I hope.
anyway, there's not a huge
hope you-
following with any of them, but that's probably because in the Republican primary, there wasn't a huge following for any one person until it got weeded out quite a bit.
Right.
Even then, Trump didn't have a huge following until like
Until it was Hillary.
yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So
I hope you realize that polling is completely meaningless.
well, it's not meaningless. It's
I mean,
just not what people think it is.
And because all this is reminding me is of
I don't think it's
2016.
meant to have as strong of a meaning as making it out to
All
be.
the
I think
polls in 2016 predicted Hillary Clinton winning in a landslide.
That's not entirely true.
hey,
The
she
problem
won.
wasn't that all the polls said she was going to win and they were wrong. The problem was the only polls people were looking at or cared about were the ones that said she was going to win. Because anytime a poll said that she wasn't, nobody believed it.
I mean, polls are hard to look at anyway. It depends on where these polls are coming from.
Yeah, exactly. There's like basically, yeah, they're super. And yeah, I mean, Liam's not entirely wrong. They're not like, I mean, they're almost meaningless.
Well, I mean, they're just giving us like a snapshot of like what it's gonna like. We just
Yeah.
want a little bit. That's all.
I just feel like they're not. They could be more transparent.
I guess everything could be.
You need to explain better where these are from. Because like, yeah, sure, you go to some college campus, your poll is going to be in favor of Bernie Sanders.
Right.
Fuck it, I don't want to talk about it. What time is it?
Hey man,
right.
you dug your own damn grave. We could still be talking about Legos.
Yeah, well, God, I think I would feel just about the same.
It would have been a lot easier for Legos to devolve into something else. Okay, that's something else you got to realize with Stay on Target.
That's true.
I just don't think that. Either way,
Yeah.
those are topics that Liam loves to talk about with us. So
Yeah.
I don't think either one would have devolved very quickly.
That's my fault. I tried to divert Legos with politics.
But those are the two issues that Liam can think he goes toe to toe with us because
No,
it's
look,
so.
okay, I know I go toe to. I don't go toe to toe with you guys on Legos. I know I am superior in my knowledge with Legos to you guys. Okay, don't even try that.
Oh no, you didn't actually. You didn't actually impress me too much with the knowledge of Legos. You said everybody cares about minifigures. I know that for a fact. That is not right.
Yeah,
A lot of people care about
cannot be
minifigures. A good portion of the Lego community cares about minifigures. I feel like that's the number one complaint.
I think
Lego
it's an age
recently.
gap. I think you're disconnected with the Lego crowd of today, Liam.
No.
I don't think you know.
How do you know?
I'm not saying I know. I'm saying you
just,
don't.
You're just disagreeing with me just to be contrary. If I said that no one cares about minifigures, you'd be like, everyone cares about minifigures.
Yeah, because I have a real argument here.
I mean, do you have like anything to back up what you're saying?
No, I don't. I just did it to annoy you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's working.
No, it's not annoying me. It's just kind of making yourself look stupid.
I don't know.
Stop making yourself look stupid.
Yeah, I know.
Liam doesn't sound at all stupid.
Damn minifigures. Everybody cares about minifigures. Obviously, jeez.
Come on.
Listen, if there's two things, if there's two things I know
Lego
more,
fanatic would know that. Jeez.
If there's two things I know more than you guys about, it's Legos and Lost. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? Really? You know more about Lost than I do.
Don't even fucking try me, man.
I'm just saying, like, I think you think you know more than you do about Lost.
Hey, you want to play this game? Go ahead.
You guys want to go on Planet of the Apes trivia?
Oh, don't even get me started on how much Richard thinks he knows about Planet of the Apes.
Let's go toward Bird Law and see who comes out the victor, huh?
You guys want to go Bird? See, actually, that's what you missed. Is that my criminal justice class? Actually, it's actually about bird law.
It's bird law.
Did you see it though? Did you actually see like what like Dmitri's is Soviet?
Yeah, no, I saw.
It's like, oh man.
That's stereotypically racist.
Thinking I don't know about Lost.
I'm just saying. I've heard you talk about it, and I don't know. I'm not really sure that you think you know what you do.
Come at me, bro. Come on.
Let's have a trivia off right now.
You don't even know about. You don't even know enough about Lost to ask me questions about Lost. Okay.
I'm not saying. Okay. All right. I'm not saying anything about what I know. I'm just saying.
Come over here talking this weak shit, okay? But this is my house, okay?
I'm just saying that I know how to get.
This is my shed in the backyard, okay?
People are so easy to get a reaction. You disappoint me, Liam.
You know, Liam. Last time we spoke, in the last podcast, it was just you and Dmitri. You guys were talking about something Marvel related or whatever, and you were talking about the Disney Plus streaming.
Right.
And you said you might watch the Hawkeye TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Now, wouldn't that go against your rule
No,
of
because
not
I've
watching new
because I've
TV shows?
because it's part of the MCU. I've already seen TV shows and movies
Another
within the MCU.
loophole. Another
No,
loophole.
no, loophole. It's
It
not.
completely is.
No, it's not another property that I'm investing myself into.
Well, this one is about the human race in general. It has humans in it, so I've already seen one.
Tim, your argument against new TV shows is that it's starting a new story unless you have to commit all this time to it. Just because it's in the Marvel universe doesn't mean that it isn't a new story that you have to commit new time to.
It's
So
not a
that's
new story.
completely
It's continuing the Hawkeye storyline that everyone loved so much about the. It's continuing these storylines that have already started. Nothing ends in the MCU. You think this shit ends? Even Endgame had end in the title and it wasn't the end.
I absolutely don't think it ends. I just think that it also starts new stuff. I don't think the Hawkeye show is going to be Endgame Part 2. I think there's going to
It'll
be
be
like some new villain or whatever. It's going to be a whole new plot line.
it'll
and
be
he's gonna
Endgame
do,
Part 2 for Hawkeye.
whatever. I'm not going to. All I'm saying is I think you talk the talk for a lot of things.
And this is what gets you, huh? The possibility of me watching Hawkeye. Possibility of me watching the Hawkeye TV show, which
Well, it would just be, breaking another just dumb rule that you make for yourself. Is all.
I don't think it's breaking it.
Late
There's
fall.
never snow on
Probably-
the ground.
There's wait, what did you just say, Richard?
I said it never snows here.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, comparatively, it
I don't
really
know.
doesn't snow here very often.
Disagree.
I'm telling you, I'm not. I mean, yes, it snows here, but compared to all of the places around us in every direction, north, south, east, and west, we get not a lot of snow here.
Yeah, but we still get snow.
where-
like-
Yeah, we
Okay.
get some.
Dimitri,
No,
did he
I
just
don't-
completely lose credibility with that?
I think you're comparing it to like other places in New York. Yeah, sure, but like
Yeah, that's what I mean.
compared to other states, we get
Well,
snow.
obviously we get some snow, and obviously we get more snow than Mississippi. I mean, I'm not trying to say that we're the South. I am comparing it to the rest
Like
of New
sure,
York.
you compare it to Syracuse, and like yeah, we don't get shit, but
I lived in Syracuse for 4 years. I've worked in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I've worked in the Adirondacks in the winter. Horseheads gets like a foot of snow maximum.
I don't know. We get snow. We get more than a foot.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
Maybe in the old days.
I'm so
Nicole.
this is just like I can't deal with this. You're
I
saying
know,
we
it's
don't get
I
It's-
haven't
it's
been
absurd to
there
me.
in like almost 5 years. So
Well, in the past 5 winters, we've been not getting a lot. Like a foot would be
and plus
and maybe accumulative snowfall is more than a foot, but there's never more than a foot on the ground because it always melts so fast.
this is
It's
just
Maybe
like
there's snow in the air
mind-blowing.
enough
it
times,
just
but there's
seems
not.
wrong.
I don't think it's wrong.
And here,
I mean, to be fair, how much time have you spent in Horseheads in the
Just
last
like
couple of
2 or 3 years ago, we had Christmas out on our back deck. We had Christmas dinner outside.
it never snows on Christmas. Snow
Well,
doesn't
I
kick.
know.
It's true. It's true. It doesn't snow a lot on Christmas.
Snow usually kicks in. I want to say like late January, maybe early
Yeah.
February.
Yeah, that's true.
But here's another thing too: is you guys live in like the town of Horseheads, so there's a much more of an effort to like plow and
Well,
shovel.
yeah, you, Liam, live outside the valley at this point. You live like up on a hill, so I'm sure you got snow. I think it's something about like the valley. I think it's something about the way that our like Chemung Valley is shaped that the clouds just like split.
It's not that far away though.
Right, but like I said, you're on top of a hill.
I mean, you guys acted like it was 3 hours, a 3 hour drive, but
Liam, if I
Well,
had to
okay,
make that
to-
drive both ways every day after school, it is a long ways.
you never had to drive both ways after school.
Yes,
Oh,
I did. I had to drop you
When we
off
took
and
you
and
home.
go back.
Well, like maybe once or twice. It wasn't like every day or something.
Liam, it was so often.
No.
I wouldn't say it was
Yes,
so often. It was a few times,
it was
like
more than
every
you.
every 3 months. It was probably like no, it's probably once a month.
I
Yeah.
feel like it was
Are
like
you kidding me?
once
We
a
couldn't
week.
get you to hang out for more than like an hour, or like I don't know. I think we hung out at your place like maybe 3 times a month.
That's not true.
He is he like delusional or something? Is he like not like? Is this the same
I
Richard? Did we
classify I classify hanging out as being at your house for more than 30 minutes.
are we
Okay.
dealing with the Richard from a different universe or something? What is going on here?
Well, it also depends on what year we're talking about, because there were some years where I was not hanging out with you, and there were other years that I was.
I don't think. I think even at your peak, it was maybe like 3 times a month
No, that now I know that's an exaggeration.
for like more than 30 minutes. That's what I'm saying. We would go over to your house and like we'll watch a video or do something and annoy Joe or something like that. But then we would leave because you'd be
Yeah,
like, "You guys got to go. Okay, you got stuff to do." Because
Okay.
that would be
every
before.
month though. I feel like once a week, which is 4 a month.
No.
I don't
One
know. That sounds like a good estimate.
extensive hanging out once a week. I wouldn't say that.
Well, I didn't say extensive, but more than 30 minutes, yeah.
Because I can count on one hand, like the times that we.
And you know what you're not including? You're staying at my house, sure, but there were like very frequently. Maybe we wouldn't enter my house and we wouldn't hang out there, but we would stand on the corner of Orchard Street and Main Street for like an hour and a half. I mean,
I
there,
not an
there
hour and a half.
many
It's probably
not
like
an hour
20
and a half.
minutes.
No, like an hour. There were many times where I didn't enter my home until 4 o'clock.
Well, I think the whole process of getting home might have taken like an hour.
You know what I'm realizing with this? That Richard hates spending time with us so much that it feels so much longer than it really is.
No, that's not.
That
No,
is his
it's not right.
vision.
You guys are
Spending the
misremembering.
night must have been like a whole week to him.
No, that's not
Well,
true. But I
it
think
was not like a whole week to him because he did not. He was not with us when we spent the night. Okay, he ditched us. He ditched us and went to his comfy room with blankets.
Like 11 o'clock too.
yeah, I
Oh,
don't
9 o'clock.
Like,
Time to go to bed.
I'm tired.
you guys know this. When I'm
Better
tired,
go eat my bite of chicken sandwich and go to bed.
I don't like sleepovers. I never did. I never wanted you guys to sleep over. I never once said, "Yeah, you guys should stay over." That was something that you
But we
forced
wanted
on
to
me
hang out.
every time.
We just wanted to hang out.
I understand, but
If we
do we-
hung out as much as you're saying, Hazard Time Productions would have way more content.
no, but we did hang out that much. We just didn't do anything. We would we would stand there and talk, and we would talk about our ideas, but then we wouldn't do anything. And that was what our hanging out was. But we would do it. Now,
Well,
I'll concede there were times it wasn't even across the board. There were times where it would be like once a week, and there were times where it'd be like never. I mean,
what's the crazy thing about this is, people, okay, people out there listening, I lived across the street from Richard.
yeah, and I never once entered that. You want to blame me? You want to blame me?
All right, all right,
We never
okay.
hung out, and we lived across the street. Dmitri,
All
you
right.
are.
I can see. Okay,
Yeah, that's what I
as long as
thought.
you don't have to talk about me, I can see.
We all had our things, okay? Liam had to hang out with us and wanted to hang out with us, and he didn't have an excuse because he had to wait until 5 o'clock to get picked up anyway. But you and I both had our reasons and both had our, our things.
Fair enough.
Dimitri, you remember in 6th grade when we put that pink gunk in the...
Is it still there?
Still there.
Oh my god, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. Well, remember what we said. The year like 5015 or whatever, the aliens are going to like come to Earth. Just like nothing left of Horseheads, just one solemn sign.
Yeah, with a piece of
This
gunk stuck in it.
This piece of pink gunk, how did it survive through all of this decimation?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous that it's still there.
It is, yeah. I mean,
It really is, considering like the amount of like weathering that must have happened. It's like,
yeah. I mean, I think it's hardened to like it's like a rock. I mean,
it's gonna be like some random like hobo walking around like, ooh, a piece of gum in here.
yeah.
'Cause, like,
Have you guys
it
seen?
makes sense.
There's an Ewok movie. There's actually two, I think.
I also just saw on Facebook somebody is selling stories on records that are like these spin-off stories following Chewbacca and Ewoks.
Oh my god. Well, I saw the Ewok movie, the first one,
Oh, God.
called like Ewoks: A Battle for Endor, and oh my god, was it like the worst thing I'd ever watched. Like people think when people who know a little bit about Star Wars, they say, "Oh, the prequels are really bad," and then people who know a lot about Star Wars say, "Oh man, but the holiday special is really bad."
Yeah.
And then
And
people
that's-
who have seen the Ewok movie are like, "Ooh,
I
See,
don't
like,
know. I would
see,
be
that's not
surprised
bad.
the
Like,
Ewok movie to be worse than the holiday special.
it's definitely as bad."
Like, the
and
holiday
see,
special is really bad.
it seems like the Ewok movie is like getting into the realm of bad and not fun.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't fun.
I think the holiday special wasn't fun either.
Yeah, but I mean, holiday special is pretty easy to make fun of.
It
Holiday
was
special.
on par. It was as bad as the holiday special, but it was like one movie, not a whole series of different things, I guess. So
Holiday
it had a
special
split
is
of a plot.
crazy too.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean, what was going on with the holiday special?
cocaine.
Yeah.
LSD.
It reminds me of the Sunny line. One of my favorite Sunny lines is from D actually. In the gang turns black, I think, is it?
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, they're talking about Quantum Leap. And D goes, "Oh yeah, Quantum Leap. It's this great show from the coke-fueled era of '80s television." I just always love that line. The coke-fueled era of '80s television.
It's not wrong.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Have you guys seen that Key and Peele sketch? That's like it's the Family Matters sketch where um uh what's anyway the show Family Matters.
Yeah.
The main actor
Steve Urkel.
guy who
And
plays the dad.
Is it the cop dad?
Yeah. He comes into like one of the writers to complain about how Steve Urkel's getting like all these episodes devoted to him. And anyway, it gets into this whole argument, and the guy's like yelling at the producer for all these ridiculous episode plots where Steve Urkel keeps getting all this airtime. He's like, last episode, Steve Urkel used his transformation ray to turn me into a sandwich, and then I wasn't even in the episode. Like, all this stuff. But anyway, like
There's been some good Key and Peele stuff.
yeah, that's an excellent skit, and the producer's like super high on cocaine the whole time, and it just devolves as they do. It's excellent.
I like the bagel one where he's trying to eat the bagel. Remember that?
Know that one.
Oh.
But Dmitri, do you remember the one that was like two guys are in a park and they're like some attractive woman
What
is like
is
so
that?
What is
it
it?
is.
Maybe there's a little face under there.
I have no idea.
Thank you.
And finally, he tells him like, no, that's
No,
the
wait,
cute-
stop. I don't want to spoil it for anyone.
Oh, right.
If anybody, just go watch the Key and Peele skit. I don't even. What is that? Just look up that maybe. Key and Peele.
Continental breakfast.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I like the cop one, the buddy cop. He's like, it's funny. I can't remember what it was though. He's like, that's what Johnson would have done.
What's the tough
They got a lot of good
thug
ones.
one or something like? I'm good,
Oh,
homie.
I think that's the best one. Like that is the best Key and Peele skit because like I've showed that to people. It's universal humor. I think.
Which one is that?
I'm good. Like I don't need no chair.
Oh,
No chance.
Proud thug.
Proud thug.
That's good. That is good.
I'm good.
Go,
Oh.
go to the light, homie. He's like, go to the light. He's like,
I'm good. I don't
heaven
need
is
no
for
light.
books.
I would actually say the most liked is the substitute teacher ones, probably.
Oh yeah, that's true. But I don't find those as.
And of course, I think one of the best are the East-West stuff.
Those are
That's-
actually.
But even those are like, yeah, you know, the humor might not go well with some people.
Kringleberry.
But they are excellent. Oh,
Player.
And the rap, I
Somebody-
love the rap. They do.
That's
yeah,
enough.
The Carpetron Duke Marion. Love the ball so much I want to marry it.
Kringle McCringleberry. When I got the ball, you best be wary.
I do. It's a great rap.
What is that?
Thanks me at deliciousness.
What is
use
it?
my-
A shower handle is my
Yeah,
name.
the-
Power
the-
handle
yeah.
sounds the same.
The Voyant shower hand. The Voyant shower hand. And then Dan Smith.
Dan Smith. Yeah, that was great.
That's the-
They've got some good stuff.
Back it up. Sorry, dunk but should.
They also have some stuff too. Though.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh shoot. what is
Have
it?
you seen the cop one where he's like arresting a guy? It's so like I don't know which is which. I can never remember unless I'm looking at them. But like, it always works so well because like, I think Key is he always like
He is the taller, skinnier one.
yeah,
yeah.
Key. His reactions are like over the top and great, and then like Peel is like he usually just plays like this subdued role of like,
Yeah.
but like this one it's so good because he's like a cop like arresting a guy and he's like, don't do it, don't do it, don't you do it, and he's got like his gun out and the guy just keeps like back and forward like, oh, and he's like, don't pull that gun out, don't pull that gun out. He starts pulling it out, but like his face is it's so Peel. Watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
And he like pulls the gun out and starts aiming at the cop. He's like, "Don't you do it! Don't you do it!" He's like, and he finally aims it at him, cocks it, and he's like, "Son of a bitch, not again." It's good.
Yeah, they're
Did you guys ever see the Cyanide and Happiness shorts?
Yeah, I've watched some of them.
Those are good too.
maybe.
They're like the stick figures that have like big fat
Oh,
heads, square
yeah,
bodies,
yeah.
arms.
Yeah.
And what is it? Scott Sterling. Love Scott Sterling too.
Oh,
Have you guys seen any of the show? It's on Netflix. I think you should leave.
You should leave.
It's kind of
No.
newish. It's like a
Nope.
skit show.
I haven't seen it, and I never
It's-
will.
It's Dimitri. Then it's worth watching.
really?
I think
I don't
it's
know.
episode
Skit
6 is, like-
shows.
You'll like. I think it gets funnier the more you watch it, because he's
Yeah.
got a very specific.
Who is
humor.
it?
Tim Robinson is the guy.
Tim Robbins.
But he's got a very specific humor that, like, once you start to cue into, then it gets funnier, basically. So, like, the first episode's like, okay, but then by the time you watch, like, 3, you're like, all right, this is pretty funny. And there's some skits, like, they're not, I wouldn't call them, like, excellent, but there are some that are definitely
I
worth
like
watching.
Have you seen any? I just see him around the internet, but like DeAndre something or like
DeAndre.
I don't know.
I don't
Eric
know.
DeAndre, is that who it is?
Oh, Eric Andre?
Eric Andre, is that he's like a black guy with like big
Yeah.
poofy hair.
He's got the
See, I
Eric
was-
Andre.
Is he any good? Like I haven't seen any of his
I think
stuff.
he's hysterical.
What?
I think he's hysterical.
Okay.
But his whole thing is to, like, make everyone else feel as uncomfortable as possible.
Because I've seen like there's one where like a like it's like a cop like arrests them in a store, and he's like, put your hands up. He's like, now put them behind you, and like he starts like making out with them and stuff, and like
Yeah. Yeah, he just does, like, he's completely absurdist. So, like, nothing he does has any point to it. It's all just, like, nonsense.
Did
Yeah,
anybody
I like
see the?
Good.
Or,
So there's a good one that he does. One of his less offensive. So a lot of it's, like, really gross, like, or
Yeah.
just weird. to like confuse people or whatever, make them feel really uncomfortable. But there's one that he does that's I think is more tame, but it's so funny to me, where he dresses as like a cat burglar, and he carries around a big sack, and he's got like the mask over his eyes and stuff, and he walks into like fancy restaurants, and he goes like "Sacre bleu," and he just like starts stealing plates and puts them in the bag, and like will only say like "Sacre bleu" and stuff like that, and he like tiptoes around. It's fantastic.
Have you seen Portlandia?
Yeah,
Yeah. What do
I
you think of
tried to
that?
watch that. I couldn't
I
get
think
into
there
it.
are some good ones, and there are some not good ones.
Yeah, like wait, Liam, you tried to watch it?
Yeah, a while ago. I couldn't get into it. I don't think I'm that big of a fan of him, Fred Armisen.
I think he's pretty
Yeah.
funny sometimes.
I think the girl is sometimes funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a
They work well together.
Who's the
there's a
girl?
skit-
Uh,
I don't know her name.
They're both like musicians, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. There's like a multi skit, bigger skit about Steve Buscemi is the guy in the skit, and he is like the marketing guy for celery, and he's in charge of trying to make celery hip, and obviously that's very difficult to do. And like the guy who was in charge of tomatoes like had it easy. He thought, because like of course you can make tomatoes cool, but but celery. So like Steve Buscemi's trying really hard to get celery to become the next big thing, and he can't do it. So he has to like end up doing all these weird like illegal back alley dealings.
Wait,
with
is this in
people.
Portlandia or?
Yeah, it's more like
Okay.
India. And
Okay.
I thought that was an excellent thing.
Yeah, there's some that are good, and a lot of it's miss. Maybe just for
Yeah.
whatever, but the ones that are good.
Now, not to get too controversial here, but Richard, are you going to be watching It's Always Sunny when it comes out this month?
Probably not.
Really?
Why?
Well, for one, I didn't know that.
Wait, well, first of all, what's so controversial about that?
Oh, I
Uh,
just said it's not as good as it
Well,
used
I mean,
to be.
I mean, not everybody likes It's Always Sunny, right?
Oh well.
I I
I'm
think
sorry. I'm sorry.
what's happening?
Yeah, Portlandia. It's great. It's great, guys.
No, I
What-
think that there's like not many shows
Feels
better
coming
than
along.
Sunny at its peak, but I just don't think that Sunny's at its peak anymore or even close to it. And I don't know. It's been going downhill for me.
I don't think it's. I think it's too early to give up on it, though. I think maybe
Well,
like
I'm
two
not
seasons
giving
in a
up
row.
on it. I'll probably watch it. I just won't like make it like I won't go out like if I'm in the room and it's on, I'll watch it, and maybe I'll go back and watch it on demand or something. But I'm not gonna like make time.
Is Dennis in it?
Oh yeah,
Okay, I thought he was like going away from it or something.
he was gone for like most of one episode, and it was great what they did.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
Well,
I'm
he
sure
was
they
on
had
for
fun.
2 episodes here and there. Like every once in a while, there'd be an episode that he wasn't in it.
Yeah, I think he was fully gone for 2 episodes. I want to say. And
I
then
mean, they like write some weird excuse for his character not to be there.
well, I think it was I think it's because it was a flashback. It was like the Super Bowl episode, and he wasn't there during that time period, so they didn't have him there.
And there's another episode, whatever the one with the float.
Yes, he was just off screen in that episode.
He was driving the float, so he was visible.
See, they should have had like some weird stunt double that like kind of looked like him.
Eh,
But see in
hysterical.
the back.
that's kind of close to what they actually did in the first episode. I don't want to spoil that for you,
Okay.
but you know what I'm
I
talking
will.
about, right, Richard?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And it's great.
I think the show's still funny. It's just not. I mean, it's like funny enough to watch at this point, but it's not the
It's
same as the old stuff
Right.
for me. If I have a chance between rewatching an old episode from like season 4 or watching the new one, I'd pick rewatching.
But then you also got to think, what's your alternative? Like, if you want a good comedy show, I still think that's Always Sunny, even if it's on decline. I mean, watch Young Sheldon. No, thank you.
I love Young Sheldon.
What is wrong with you?
Kidding.
Okay.
See, I think that was a lie.
I
Liam was ready to believe that I like Young Sheldon.
I'm-
Right. Even you, being a butch fake nerd, I know for a fact wouldn't like Young Sheldon.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the one who hates everything. You think I'm gonna like?
listen. I don't know where to stand with you right now. Okay, you don't think it snows in New York? Okay,
I didn't
think-
say New York.
you,
And
you
doesn't
think we
snow.
hang out every week and you?
Okay, I'm gonna bring both those points back up for a second. Or said snowing. I never said it doesn't snow in New York. I said in Horseheads we don't get nearly as much snow as the rest of New York and the
No,
surrounding.
you started
is-
with it doesn't snow here.
It doesn't.
Yeah, but that was obviously a hyperbolic statement that
Hey,
Don't
I
that-
wasn't saying
use us for
literally.
half of our statements are hyperbolic. Like that's just our normal vernacular.
Yeah. So me saying, nah, it doesn't snow
No,
here.
so that
It's
then
not
we would
true.
take it at face value then.
Oh, he means it doesn't snow here. No, I don't mean that. I mean
No,
we
That's
get
how
nearly as much snow as everywhere else.
I don't know.
And the other thing, I'm not saying that we had long times of hanging out in my living room every week. That is not what I'm saying. But about once a week, I would say were times where we would spend more than like half an hour together. Maybe it wasn't in my house. Maybe it was on the street. Maybe it was in the
I
woods.
think we
you know,
still think we
in
hung
the
out.
forest. But there
since-
was at least once a week we would be hanging out for an hour.
I just think it's more. I think it was just more unpleasant for Richard, so that's why it feels longer for him.
No,
whole time. It's like,
I think you guys. The other thing is, you guys got really butthurt when I didn't hang out with you, and so you used to blow it way out of proportion how little time I spent with you. You can say, "Oh, you got, you're never spending any time with us." Blah blah blah.
You
Which
weren't.
it's true that I
You
wasn't spending much
And
time with you, but you
there was
guys blew that so far out of proportion. So I think you guys are I think you're trying to tell me that I'm not remembering it right, but I think you guys have told yourself that I didn't spend any
You've
time.
made abundantly clear how much you loathe hanging out with us, Richard.
That is not true.
There was periods of time where we couldn't even reach you. You didn't even exist to us anymore.
Yeah,
I had almost given up on you. I think
To
I
be
did. I
fair,
think
that was
Liam
true.
brought me back.
most of my friends.
Well, and now we know why it was. Okay, Richard was still harboring some anger over some Lego set he lost. So there was clearly some resentment there.
Well, you two are making up, right? His
Listen, I
dad threw it away.
had other obligations that I thought were more important. I'm not gonna apologize.
Oh, okay.
Bros
how it is.
before hoes, Richard. Bros
Yeah,
before hoes.
well, I didn't think that at the time.
Yeah, maybe you should have. Look where you ended up.
Yeah, I know. I see. I see.
Anyway, all right.
That STD.
It's a shame that I think it's a shame for people who don't like Sunny because they're missing out on so much.
Oh yeah.
It's such a great show. Like just try to like it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
It's one of the best comedy shows of all time.
Absolutely.
It's I mean, I believe it's in like top 3, but
It is excellent.
These same people who don't watch Sunny talk about how great Friends is and Seinfeld. Like,
Well, I wouldn't put Friends and Seinfeld in the same category, nor do I think they're the same people.
yeah, I don't think your typical Friends viewer also watches Seinfeld.
Yeah, I don't think so at all.
it's
No.
weird
Yep.
because I despise so many comedies. Like, I really do despise The Big Bang Theory. I despise How
Oh,
I Met
well,
Your
it's
Mother.
Oh, Liam.
2.5
you're
Men.
so cultured.
Despise
I hate
Friends.
the Big Bang Theory. All they do is walk in Lord of the Rings.
Well, The Big Bang Theory is horrible. Do you like that?
No, I don't. But come on, it's a punching bag. It's just like yeah. Everybody hates
Of
Big
course it's
Bang
horrible.
Theory.
I mean, we all know it's yeah.
You know what? A punching bag is there to be punched. So That's the purpose of a punching bag, is to punch it. So I'm gonna punch it every chance I get.
Yes, so but it's been punched. Its fibers are ripping. You
Oh,
bite
wow.
it. It's dead punching bag. You know, somebody should come up with another term. You know.
Now we can say young Sheldon sucks.
Yeah. So got the
And
new punch.
Sheldon's even worse.
Anyway, is that even on anymore? I thought that got
See any
canceled.
of like the memes that came out of the young Sheldon when that was like sort of still like a big thing. There was
No.
like a few memes that came out. One of them was like they all were along the similar vein where there'd be a line that'd be like, "Hey, shut up, you gay pussy," or something, and then the next line would be as young Sheldon's response, which is like, "No, I'm not homosexual, and I'm also not a cat," or so like
Yeah.
disproving the guy's the first statement, like literally, and then and then there'd be a third statement which you expect when you're reading it to be like the first guy's response, but instead it would read something like, "Hey, you're a gay pussy," and then Sheldon would say, "No, I'm not a homosexual. I'm also not a cat," and then the third statement would say, like asterisk, his dad drunkenly rushes in and beats him with a belt. And because like the plot of the show is that he's got like an alcoholic father.
I gotta look some of these up now.
They were dark, but I thought they were really funny.
Oh man.
Because Bill Ponderosa plays Sheldon's dad, and the whole point of the show is that he's a genius, but his whole family's like a alcoholic redneck, whatever, and that they just have to put up with him.
All alcoholics are idiots. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a good show. I mean, but
But the premise, though, so great.
not saying the premise is good. I'm saying those memes are pretty funny.
So you're a young Sheldon sympathizer, Richard. Okay.
Freaking knew it.
Considering how butch you were, I understand now.
Yeah, the memes about him getting abused by his father.
You can ignore it all you want, Richard. We know it has its effect.
I haven't watched a new TV show in forever.
Doesn't it feel good?
Oh no, I started watching The Boys.
Boys.
It's the boys.
It's the Amazon original about like superheroes. It's basically Watchmen, but like funny.
Is that good?
It's okay. It's okay. So far, what I've watched. I mean, I don't regret watching it. Like, I just haven't finished it. I just haven't had the time, but I want to finish it.
That I'll admit that's a show that's most tempted me to break my rule.
But I don't think it would be worth that.
Yeah, but it's the only one that's.
Urban though.
It's the only one like ooh, I do really want to watch this, but no. I've been watching Hoarders recently. Just because, see,
taking notes.
When I watch a TV show, it's not always to watch a TV show. Sometimes it's just like background stuff. Like I'll be watching a TV show while I work on some paint project.
Yeah, we all have that, but you've chosen Hoarders as your background.
Because it's interesting sometimes. You will not believe the shit that goes on in this show.
I believe it.
I saw the most ridiculous thing on an episode of Hoarders. This hoarder. Try and guess what this hoarder had.
My thing with Hoarders though was like
is what he had, and then was exploited for the TV show.
Well, no,
it's freaking true.
I don't think they exploit.
Yes, they did.
They do like a couple sessions of therapy and then just leave pretty much.
Well, no, there's they have an aftercare program.
Yeah, how great do you think that is?
I think these people do get help. I think
see what we're talking about. That channel is designed to exploit people.
Do they do follow-ups? Like
they do Where Are They Now episodes, and they have an aftercare program. Which
and we took this person to a new clean house to shoot new footage, and then drove them back to their old house.
I feel like people would catch on to that.
I don't
No,
know.
because no one cares.
That's dark.
But anyway,
It is so dark when you think about it, though. Like these people watching, like people watching people struggle with like a serious mental illness as entertainment. Like,
It's
oh,
the worst.
look at this person. Look at the shit this person had for tea.
And then you laugh and you're like, ah, that guy collects old milk cartons.
I don't think
Holy
you laugh. I mean, I feel like bad watching this because usually it's
but you're watching it anyway. Like,
well, I mean,
Well, keep making episodes, people keep watching it.
you watch it for you can watch shows for different reasons.
I mean, you do. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's such a wild concept. Like, I'm sure I've done it too. I'm sure I've watched
Yeah.
like a similar thing. But if you just really think about it, it's really crazy.
Because like most of the times with these hoarders, it's like some seriously like traumatic thing that happened to them.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I'm not watching because I think it's funny. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not
but you're
that
still
bad
watching
of a
it in
person.
like kind of like what?
I said you're still gawking at it. Like it's not. It doesn't have to be funny, but it's entertainment.
Yeah, as entertainment. I'm gonna put this on in the background while I paint. Like, I'm not bashing you, Liam.
Sure.
It's not.
Because it's not just
Every-
you. I mean, it's just
Yeah. I'm sure I've done it as well, but like
it's the same
with
thing
a
with that
similar.
show, My
Oh,
Strange Addiction,
yeah,
or
it's
any show on the TLC. I guess it was.
it's the learning channel.
Yeah, sure.
And plus, I think it kind of makes you feel good too, because like when they change and get better, it's like yeah. Like I watched some of those like 600-pound life shows,
God.
and the episodes where they lose the weight are a lot better than the episode where like the guy died halfway through, and like oh my god, this is depressing.
Yeah, what do you expect?
I don't know. It's so crazy.
And you also, I guess, you watch it to make yourself feel better too. It's like, well,
Yeah.
my room's a mess, but it's not like this guy. So,
This problem.
but
But
I want to get back to the thing that I originally wanted to tell you that this lady had in her house, which was crazy. I couldn't believe it.
yeah, yeah.
You have any guesses? What's the craziest thing you could imagine?
I don't know
Well,
what this poor woman had
there
in her
was a-
house.
Oh no, I'll just tell that story later. I don't know what.
Person had a dog skeleton.
What do you mean, like mounted, or because that's not that weird to me? But or do you mean like she just had a dog that died and never found it?
Yes, she knew the dog died. She just didn't move it.
Oh my god.
And so like it was a dog skeleton. Okay, so that dog died and decomposed over the years.
That's
Like-
pretty rough.
She had 32 animal carcasses in that house, like birds and dogs that she like mistreated and then died, and then she didn't move them out. The house was deemed a biohazard. People had to go in there in like hazmat suits and clean that shit out.
Yeah, well, she was strong and lived through it.
It was crazy.
I just want to know, like, how do you sleep?
I don't know. Well,
Whatever
there's
you
something
can,
wrong.
I guess.
I mean, I don't know. There was a woman in Oregon when we were there. This happened before I got there, but there was so we have all of these skunks out in the woods with collars that we use to track them. And some every once in a while, the skunks will like walk into the town. Town. It's like 4 houses, but
Downtown.
every once in a while they'll like walk down that way, and sometimes they'll get a little too close, and you can tell that they're probably sniffing people's garbage and stuff at night. One of our collars went dead, and we didn't know what that was about, and so we basically lost the skunk. Like we can't track him anymore. Anyway, a few days go by. Somebody from the town that knows my boss comes to her, and she's like, "Hey, you guys are doing that skunk thing, right?" And she was like, "Yeah."
You guys are
And
dealing with skunks, right?
and yeah, and she says, "Well, there's this poster that you should see." And so they go to the like village bulletin board, and somebody had posted a lost cat poster,
Oh my gosh.
and it said, "Have you lost your cat?" And the picture was of the skunk. So my boss went to that house to find out what the
That's
heck was.
my cat.
By the time she got there, the woman, who was clearly crazy, said, "Oh, well, I got rid of the cat." And my boss was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Oh, I let it free." And what had happened was she had traps out in her yard for who knows what reason. She trapped a skunk, thought it was somebody's pet cat, and then just took it inside, and it lived with her in her home for 4 days until eventually she just cut off the collar and then set it out into the wild. And all the while she thinks it's a cat. So why she would cut off the collar and then release a cat into the wilderness doesn't make any sense. How she could not know that she was living with a skunk for 4 days doesn't make any sense. It
It's like
was
that
just
commercial for lens crafters.
yeah,
Kitty, kitty, and like it's a raccoon.
yeah, a lot like that.
Maybe she just needs glasses. You ever think about that? Calling her
But this
crazy?
one
Need
smells
glasses?
so bad.
Well, yeah, because the skunk probably sprayed in it.
How do you-
How did you guys deal with that? Like the skunk spray and stuff. How prevalent is that?
We didn't really get sprayed much. So what would happen is when we were
Much.
trapping them, we would put our traps. We'd basically like dig a hole for the trap and put the trap in it, and then surround it with bark and moss and stuff, so that only the entrance to the trap was like exposed. And anytime a skunk got trapped, the minute the door slammed, it would spray all over the trap. So the traps were always horribly stinky. But usually by the time you got there, when we were working with them, we'd wear hazmat suits, and we would like when we would get there, the first thing we would do is open up the trap and cram a bunch of burlap fabric into the trap until the skunk is pressed up against the back of the trap so tight that it can't move. And
Jesus, that would
once
be
it can't
terrifying.
move, once it can't move, it can't spray, and then we would inject it with tranquilizer to knock it out, and then we could handle it.
That's hardcore.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's a miracle. I haven't been sprayed by a skunk actually, because on the army post that I was at is like there was skunks. That's where you want to learn about skunks. You go to an army post because like I don't know what it is, but like every parking lot, like of the barracks, I guess because there's probably just garbage all over the place. But like every parking lot had like 3 native skunks to it at least.
That's
And
crazy.
like you would see them, and if you came back at night, like if if you came back at night, it was well known that if you got out of your car, you better run across the parking lot because like nobody wants to get sprayed. Like man, I don't want to get sprayed with a skunk because that's the first time. That's the closest I've ever been to a skunk. I mean, you got me beat, obviously, but like I was like, I was of course walking around at night, coming out of the barracks into my car, and like right as I turned the corner,
There
like
it is.
yeah, no, it was like right there, and like I froze, and I see this skunk freeze, like he was as startled as I was. And I like looked into his little beady eyes, and then like, he ran away, and I was like, shit, man, I gotta go.
That's funny.
Like it was legitimate fear to get like sprayed by a skunk.
Yeah. The nice thing is that like they usually don't spray until like that's all they have left. So
Yeah.
like if they can run away, then they're just gonna run away because spraying is like this whole big ordeal. So they usually like when dogs get sprayed, it's because this by
That's-
that point the skunk's like in their mouth, so the
Yeah.
skunk can't do all that much. But you never know, and especially like when they're younger, they're still trying things out. So the spotted skunks that we work with, when they spray, not all the time, but sometimes they'll do a handstand. So like it's really awesome to watch. But like yeah, they'll just do a complete handstand, and that's when you know they're about to spray you, basically. And the full-grown adults don't really do it that much. They can just spray without doing it or whatever. But like younger ones who are just like figuring things out on their own, kind of thing, they'll do it a lot more. And it's pretty rare to see because of that. But we had some skunks that I was releasing a skunk from one of the traps, and he just wasn't leaving the trap, and I was like, "Come on, guy!" So I'd have to like tap on it to try to get him to walk out, and he just wasn't leaving because he was really upset at me. And what they do is when they're angry at you, they'll stomp on the ground also. So they just like stomp really hard to tell you that they're angry. and he was doing that a lot. So I just backed up a little bit and I left the trap open. And as I was walking away from it a little bit, he ran out of the trap and did a handstand, like staring right at it, popped a handstand, and I thought for sure that I was going to get hit right in the face. But then eventually he just like stopped and ran away, and I was like,
He's
"Oh,
like, you like what you see? Yeah, that's what I thought. See ya. Did anybody get sprayed?
yeah, my boss has been sprayed, and one of my coworkers has been sprayed. I never got sprayed though.
How'd they get it out? Like
I
they
did though. One of the skunks sprayed the trap, and I think he ended up spraying a bunch of the ground next to the trap, and I kneeled in it, and my paint stunk for like a week.
What were you doing with the skunks? What were you trying to like? What was the end goal? What was the information that you were gathering to?
So we were working with the western spotted skunk, and so there's the striped skunk, which is the one everyone thinks of, and then there's the spotted skunk, which is spotted, and that used to just be one species, the spotted skunk, but then they split it into two, the eastern spotted skunk and the western spotted skunk. And not that much was known about the western spotted skunk because most of the research on spotted skunks happened to be east. Anyway, we were collaring them so that we could track them so that we could get their see where they were so they're nocturnal, so at night they move around and eat and all that, but in the daytime they hunker down in a rest site, and we would find those rest sites and like gather.
I just think of truck stop for some reason when you say a rest
So
site. Like
we would find those rest sites, and they're like different every night. They don't really have like a den that they come back to or anything. They just wander, and then when they're tired, they find a hole, basically. So we would gather information on those rest sites, like were they holes in the ground, were they old stumps, were they hollow trees, like what was the vegetation around, that kind of thing, just to give us an idea of what they're looking for when they're picking a rest site, which then we could use to extrapolate like what their habitat requirements are, basically. And then we would also collect their scat when we find it, and then somebody would do genetic testing of that to see what they were eating.
so, you're really just kind of researching the spotted skunk in general.
Yeah, I think basically the idea behind it was that they might be, at least in Oregon, not everywhere, but in Oregon, they might sort of be adapted for old growth forests, which are like a kind of a rare thing because logging's a huge thing. And if you could prove that their habitat requirements, were old growth specifically, then you'd have to manage for that, you know.
So I always think there's like some grander like reasoning behind research. Which
Most
I mean,
of the reason we do any wildlife research is just because somebody else wants to do logging or wants to do wetland draining or something, and we need to tell them no.
Yeah, that's depressing. But like,
that's like what 90% of it is.
So wait, are you like, is it by your own prerogative to go after them and tell them no, or do these people have to like go through you first in order
Both.
to get like clearance to log?
It's both. It depends. So like in the case of the spotted skunk, they wouldn't really need to do that because it's not an endangered species or anything. It's actually pretty common. So they don't really have to consider the spotted skunk at all. But say an animal like the spotted owl, which also lives in the same area, those are like threatened. So you can't do anything without like having people, first like figure things out with how it's going to affect them or whatever, and prove you've done your due diligence.
How's the environment looking, Richard?
It's pretty rough. It's pretty apocalyptic.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why good girls. That's where the earth.
Liam's gonna call me hippie or whatever, but in our geologic record, we have, well, we used to say 5. A new study says 6 now.
Of extinction events.
Mass extinctions. Yes.
Yeah, mass extinctions. They're saying this is the 6th
rate
one.
that we're losing things right now is equivalent to a mass extinction. So think of the extinction that killed the dinosaurs. That's like happening right
now. Yep. See? Biology 112. some interesting stuff. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
It really is. We have a snake here. It's like the pygmy rattlesnake or
Ooh.
something, and it's just like is like only ever been found in like this one county, and like I guess people like they don't know much about it, so
Right.
somebody found pygmy rattlesnake ones. So now whenever I don't know, I see a lot of snakes here. Like I guess I mean I didn't go out like I fish a lot now.
Mhm.
Like here, and so like, I go to these creeks and like ponds and stuff, and like walking through them is actually terrifying now because I've seen giant snakes in the water that I never thought about. Like when we used to
Yeah,
walk through like
you've
yeah, like well I guess it wasn't as big of a deal up there. Like there was like water moccasins up north, which we have here too, but it's like I don't know, I just like one day it was like had to be at least 3 feet in the water.
jeez.
And like after that it's like because I used to just like wade in the water in my sandals. It's like after
Uh-huh.
that I can't do it anymore. Just like thinking of this huge freaking like water moccasin like staring at me. And the thing is, like it was like so like my lure got caught in the water, and it was like real shallow water. It was like a lily pond area,
Mhm.
and I was like, maybe I should go out and get it. And I was like, I got my sandals on, so I'm just gonna wade through the water. I was on the bank, and I decided I was like, this place looks sketch. I don't think I'm gonna do it. Like I'm just gonna try to pull it out, and literally because Sydney was missing me. She's like, "Don't do that. There's probably a snake in the water. No snakes in the water." But it looks pretty sketchy. I'm just gonna stay up here. Like 2 seconds later, like freaking like 3 foot long snake just curl like through the water with his head popping up, and like just stares at me and keeps coming. Like it's crazy. Like they don't like the venomous ones. Like they don't like get scared and go away. They just like keep messing with you. Crazy.
Yeah, that's spooky.
It is. But yeah, so been interested in the
It was the
conservation
weird.
of
It was the
stuff.
weirdest thing. So I went to Canada this one time, and we were on Lake Huron. And in Lake Huron, Canada has like a national park or whatever it is for that. Yeah, I think it's a national park. I forget what it's called, but it's this island in the middle of the lake, and you have to take a ferry to get there, and then there's some hiking trails around it and stuff like that. And so we did that, and there were so many snakes on that island. They were all water snakes, which are not
Yeah,
venomous like northern water snakes, so they're not venomous or anything, but there
right.
were hundreds of these. I mean, you couldn't
Wait,
walk
on the island or
like on and around like I mean, in the woods you were kind of okay and you didn't really see too many, but if you went out to the beach, which it wasn't a sandy beach, it was like all rocks and stuff,
yeah,
every single rock had a
had
snake
like
on it. I mean, there
yeah,
was like hundreds of these things.
it's they're like terrifying. Like like even like the water snakes that aren't like venomous
Yeah,
to us or whatever is like I don't know. I guess
you
like
couldn't
because I
you
had
couldn't take a step without seeing movement under some of the rocks. Like maybe
they'll
they
do
weren't
that.
sitting on top of the rock by the time you got there, but they were definitely right underneath it. Every step you took, you had to watch where you were going.
The water's terrifying. Ever since I started like fishing and stuff, I was like realizing and like that day I saw a snake. It's like the first time I realized like holy shit, there's stuff out here that can like probably kill me. like
Yeah,
like or at least like cause me great harm. Like and
yeah.
we're also fortunate to have like the brown recluse and black widow here.
Oh
So
God.
like it used to actually the last couple of years hasn't this year and the end of last summer hasn't been bad
Uh-huh.
for like brown recluse spiders, but the beginning of last summer and the year before that it'd just be a common occurrence. You see them on the walls, you see them crawling uh,
Oh God.
like in your cabinets and stuff, and like or in your
That's
like
even worse.
clothes.
Yeah, like a snake, just get out of the water and you're fine.
Yeah,
But
but like
but a spider, like, oh, I hope they're not in my shoe.
yeah, I check shoes all the time, but like I mean they're usually like down. I mean they only come out at night most of the time, but I have like glue traps around, and like you see some. But I like first time I seen a black widow was here too, And it was the first time I've seen a spider that was pissed off. Like I could visibly see the spider was pissed off because I always catch him and I'll try to. I mean that pissed off too. But like before I caught it, like looking at it in its web,
Mm-hmm.
like when I got towards it, it was like visibly moving and pissed off, and I was like,
Oh
crazy.
God, it's kind of I don't like that.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You know, you have. I think they might be in New York too, but I've never seen one. But there are these like water bugs. I forget what they're called, but they're like sort of like a beetle. They're not a beetle, but they're just like a big water bug, and they're huge. They're like
Oh,
3 inches long, and they've
what
got
are they?
enormous
They're like
pincers.
they're diving.
I
Like
think so.
it's like
Yeah.
a dive water beetle or something, and they have huge. They eat things like
Right. Yeah. They like catch things. Like they'll catch fish even.
yeah.
Liam, what are you doing?
Huh?
Liam's got like, Mississippi. He's got a bunch of shit there.
Do you have any alligators there?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't go outside.
I know you have like you probably have tons of snakes there if you go to the right place. I mean
Yeah,
that's I mean yeah.
I imagine. Anyway, I don't know, but
I did not pay attention during most of your conversation. I was looking at young Sheldon memes, and I didn't really care about what you guys were talking about anyway.
You should
Yeah,
get
well,
outside, Liam.
you always expect me to listen to your conversations, and when I complain about your conversations, it's like, oh, you're just a jerk. But then the minute I talk about something I'm, involved in,
Well,
I'll
if you want to just be quiet during a conversation, that's fine.
Well, I mean,
But I
Richard's
wasn't.
got.
But was I like, stop talking about snakes, you idiots? We're a stupid topic.
Why don't you shut the fuck up, Liam? How about that? How's the electricianing going, Liam?
Going fine.
Do you like? Do you have like a? How many semesters left?
After this semester, I have one more.
So do you have like job prospects lined up?
Not right now,
Yeah.
but I will.
I mean, 'cause I imagine that's pretty easy to just kind of like segue into like like an apprenticeship, or do you have to like?
yeah. What do you do after?
Well, they'll. I could get set up with an internship during my semester, so like they'll work around my school schedule, and I'll go to work there. And I guess like if the person likes me enough, they'll hire me
You know,
on.
I'm pretty scared actually. I don't know if I would scared, maybe more worried. Because like when you start making decent money, I'm kind of worried how you're gonna spend that money.
Same.
Well, what do you
Like
think? What do you think I would spend it on?
drugs? No, like I don't know. Like I feel like if you had a house, you'd have like Legos and like statues and like
You
just
might
crazy
become one of
stuff.
those hoarders.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's Legos.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just want to say it out
That's-
loud.
I guess it's just like
I'm gonna
it's
buy
just gonna be
Legos.
crazy. Like you know,
I haven't bought Legos in a long time, and it's kind of and I kind of like feel
Don't you
sad
want to
about
think
that.
about like saving that money and then getting an apartment or like?
right? When are you gonna get a car and move out?
I
Man,
can do
I'm not just
both.
doing this to rate you. Like I'm wondering.
I can do both. I can get an apartment and buy Legos.
I mean, you can, but like, do you have a plan? Like, are you going to move out when you get a job, or
Yeah, fine getting an apartment.
don't, man, don't.
I mean, I'd like to buy a house. I'd like to build a house. I bet I could build a house.
I think that's called carpentry. You're in the wrong.
Yeah, you could wire up a house for for lamps
I
and
could
stuff.
I could build a house.
I mean, anybody could, but
No,
I don't
I
really
don't.
think it's carpentry. I would disagree with you. Not everybody could build a house.
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely couldn't though.
yeah, but like,
I don't think it's
You're-
carpentry. I
no,
don't
no,
think
hold on.
carpentry is the right.
no, stop. Because Liam saying I could build a house is the same thing. It's the same meaning as Richard saying I could build a house.
Yeah. That's true.
I think I could build a house.
Why
Okay.
do you even believe
Yeah.
that?
I mean,
You saying
why
you
do
could
you
build
have
a
it?
house is me saying anybody could build a house. As long as you are physically capable.
Yeah, it's not like you already know what you're doing or or anything.
I have a
So,
good
like,
idea of what I'm.
yeah, yeah,
Do you?
you do.
Yeah. I feel like the only struggle I would have would be in the plumbing aspect of it, because I'm not really that knowledgeable in the plumbing side of things. But
So you
besides
could build
that,
a house. You could build a house if we gave you the materials. You could build the
yeah,
house.
it might not
Oh,
have
yeah.
running water, but I could build a house.
I could just imagine this like 4x4,
No,
like nail, like just kind of like banged up together, so it's like straight. Everything is
Liam,
just
do you
straight.
understand
It's
how
like
to
a
put up
square.
drywall?
What'd you say?
Do you understand how to put up drywall?
Yeah,
Do you?
I wouldn't put up. I wouldn't put up drywall. I'd put up plywood, because I like that better.
Okay, well, no house just has plywood walls. You're describing a shack.
Yeah, maybe you could build a house if you mean your house.
I mean, you
I
can
could
build
build-
a shed, probably.
What's wrong with plywood walls? I think it's better.
That doesn't exist. It
It
isn't.
does.
No, plywood is like what you make like Walmart desks from.
I got plywood walls in my room.
Because it's
No,
a
you
shed.
don't.
If
You
you
have
do, it's because it's a shed.
But it's like a
Plywood is not-
perfectly. It's
Plywood
like a
walls
perfectly
is-
normal wood.
No, it isn't because for one, no, it isn't. Where does all the wiring go if you have plywood walls?
Inside the walls. There's the
Inside-
space in between.
You just have two
so,
sheets of.
so you're making? Are you making a
wall
house out
is
of two
strong,
pieces of
two sheets of-
plywood?
You guys can't talk at the same time.
Okay.
Fair enough.
What's the problem with the? I'm not understanding this.
That's just not how houses are made. That you don't have plywood walls.
I don't know. I don't see why not. I have plywood walls in my room.
I don't believe you.
Dimitri's been in there. You have plywood. You've seen it, right, Dimitri?
I don't remember if it was plywood. I don't-
I mean, you
It's
might have
painted
plywood walls if there was like a repair that needed to be done.
I have plywood walls. Or maybe plywood is not the right word.
I don't
Yeah.
think it is.
But it's not drywall. It's not drywall or whatever it's called. I'm pretty sure it's plywood.
Either way, I'm just gonna. You could build your own house, Liam. But could you right now?
Right now, no, because I don't have the financial means to buy the
No,
supplies.
no, no. I'm saying if you had all the money in the world and,
you have
and access to
skills right
all
now?
materials, then and somebody said, "Here's a plot. You're on your own. Build your house." You think you could do it?
Again, like I said, the plumbing would be a concern.
Just the plumbing.
Just the plumbing.
You can't look up anything. You can't learn is what I'm saying, because right now you are saying you have the knowledge to build a house.
Yeah.
All
Do you-
right.
How do you? There are different ways to nail two pieces of wood together.
Sure. Like, I mean,
Sure.
what are you saying? I don't. What do you?
I'm just reminding you. I don't know.
I don't know where were you going with that?
How strong do you think your house will be? Do you think a wind will knock it over?
A strong gust, do you think?
I don't understand. Okay, I still don't understand this plywood problem, because I'm living in a house with plywood walls, and I have electricity, and I have
I'm pretty sure
insulation
plywood
and
is like
windows.
highly susceptible to wood, like rain, and it's going to swell up.
It doesn't rain on the inside.
Okay, so what are the exterior walls made of?
I don't know. Like,
There you go,
there's like some
okay.
there's like some
Okay.
paneling on it. I can buy paneling and put paneling up.
Okay,
No,
fair enough.
you have to know. You have to know what you're buying. You said you could do it.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
The only reason I'm pushing this so hard is because it's a ridiculous claim.
That's an insane claim.
I mean,
do you think these people don't go and learn this for years and years and study under people that have done it their whole life to just go, hey, I can build one, I can do it.
I've done a lot of this stuff before. I've put up insulation. I've put up walls. I've installed a window before. I've done wiring. I mean,
Just go ahead, just keep talking. I mean, like,
I've put carpet down.
yeah.
Putting carpet down is the same thing as building a house.
You guys are. Well, I don't understand why you guys are doubting me here. I mean, I could totally do it.
Like, sure, you could probably
Do you understand where to put like load-bearing columns and like how far apart
you know how to like a foundation? Do you know like what it means? And I'm only saying this stuff is like just basic knowledge. I have no clue how to build a house.
Yeah,
But-
where do
but I
your
know-
studs go? How far apart are they?
Yeah. The fact that you're not offering much more information is just it's just got to be an indication that it might not happen.
I could
Now-
build a house. I don't understand what the.
A mud hut. I built. I know.
And I'm
He's
not-
gonna suffocate in his house because he has no ventilation in it.
And I'm not talking about like a 3-story house here. I could build like an apartment-sized house, maybe like 2 rooms, a bathroom.
I could build an apartment-sized house.
I mean, I could build a small house, you know, and this is like a tiny house with 1 person.
It
I mean,
has
how much space do you
house
really
that
need?
Your
would withstand
is
like a
is-
year, at least a year, I guess.
Yes. I could. I could.
What
I could.
materials would you build it out of if you could pick anything?
I mean, I could build it out of brick too. Brick is possible.
Do you know how to build a brick house?
Yeah.
Actually,
I
that
know-
might be
I know how to lay brick down. You know, like the whatever you call it that you splatter it around to stick it together. Just because I can't remember the name right now doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but like, do you know what you do once you've laid this brick down? And you can't just lay it on the ground.
Well, you gotta
you-
put the goop together to.
No, I
Stick it
I'm
in.
saying you can't just like lay brick on the ground and then just build that brick into a square.
Build a log cabin.
You have a log cabin.
a log cabin might be the easiest, other than a mud. hut.
I don't know. I feel like
Even
yeah,
then,
this is a mud hut.
it's not like logs come in Lincoln log shape.
So cut it into Lincoln log shape.
Okay, fair enough. You got me there.
I know how to cut wood.
Here I
But
am
you know, you
tearing
gotta lay your
off.
foundation. I don't really know how to do that, or what that entails.
Like,
Somehow,
to build like a roof, like a structure of a roof. Like, I mean, do you
I
know?
could build a shelter. I
Well, yeah,
believe-
shelter is not a house though.
Right? No, it's
Shelter is short term, meant for surviving a certain amount of time. A house is a dwelling that you live in for a long
Right.
period of
not.
time.
We're talking about the kind of house that you know, wire up, which you said, that's like a house. You know,
Yeah, I could build a house.
Liam builds this extravagant house. Like,
what about the kitchen?
What do you mean a kitchen? Like
Do you know how to
I
build
could buy a
kitchen?
refrigerator.
Yeah, but there are vents in the kitchen.
I just install the vents.
I just want to imagine this huge, extravagant house. Like, it's got gargoyles in the front, like chipped out of stone. It's like gold plated on the inside, everything. And then you walk into the bathroom and it's a hole in the floor dug in dirt. Like, I couldn't do the plumbing.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's possible. That's the only.
Rainwater for washing your hands. And like,
But I feel like if I had the plumbing equipment, then
Got a mop.
maybe I could guesstimate do
Jeez,
something that might
plumbing
work.
what
If
is
I
that?
had- Well, like I mean, if I had the toilet and the necessary pipes, and I could figure maybe something out. Might not look good, might not work completely well, but I could
So
maybe figure something.
basically, you are just thinking of shelter
No, I'm
because you're making everything work. You know, if I have this wood, I can make it work.
no, I mean the
It's
plumbing.
not gonna end up as a house. If you just make everything, oh, I can make it work. It's gonna end up as a shelter.
no, I could build.
Remember that time that you said you knew how to use an axe? I honestly thought you were gonna take this axe and like chop this log and like swing it and like make a cut in this wood.
No, the first swing wasn't
It
good,
was, it was
and you guys never gave me another chance.
yes, we did. We gave you a bunch of chances.
Oh, you didn't.
You're like using like this. This is how you do it. This is how I think you do it.
Oh,
It's
I
like,
know how to chop wood.
like oh my
You
gosh.
basically just drop the axe on the tree.
And it was like a chip. It was a chip. There was no force then other than the axe, like whatever it had on its own. It's not 'cause you're like, we learned in Boy Scouts, and I was like, wow, you know, I guess Liam's actually gonna chop this wood. And it's like, of course, of course.
What did I expect?
Well, good thing I don't need to chop wood to build my house. I can use machinery to cut.
And here's the thing, you know, you could become a carpenter one day and build your own house. That's fine, okay? But it will still not be saying, "Aha, I told you so," because you will not have built a house with the knowledge that you have only now.
Yeah.
I don't know why you guys doubt me, but I could build a house.
Because I honestly believe you think this. Like,
I know that you're not lying. Like you can't build a house. That's not what I mean. But you don't think you're lying. Like you think that what you're saying is true and accurate.
I'm confident in my
it's actually
abilities.
kind of, it's kind of insulting to people that build houses.
Yeah.
I mean, I could. It might not be as good as nice as the houses they build, but I could build a house.
No, see, I don't know. Maybe our image of houses is different, but
Yeah, I don't know.
And you can totally use plywood for walls. I don't see why you couldn't.
No, I know you can. It's just not really like
I mean, I don't think you know. I think you know what plywood is, but I don't think you're using it correctly. I don't. I think what you're thinking of is probably something different. Because plywood is, I mean, it's not used for walls.
I'm gonna look this up.
Seen it used for walls. I've seen it used for walls. Interior walls of like you know, garages.
Yeah, but like, if you have plywood in your house for the wall, then you better call the person up and build that house and get some money back or something.
Maybe it's super cheap. Maybe I'm just showing my privilege here. And like really low income houses all have plywood walls. I don't know.
I'm in a low income apartment, man, and this stuff is still like sturdy, definitely not plywood.
Well,
Maybe they-
anyway, I'm gonna have to go pretty soon because my phone's about to die.
Okay, you could just plug it in the wall, man.
Well, it's upstairs, and I'm
If there's
downstairs.
somebody listening that has a house and it's got plywood walls, I'm an
I'm
idiot.
looking at it, and it seems like it's easier to install plywood, and it's structurally better.
Yeah, but not for the whole house. I guess that's the major problem is that you're talking about building the whole house out of plywood. Like,
I don't see why you couldn't. I mean, you need shingles on the roof and paneling on the
a
outside.
plywood, a plywood like bookshelf.
I don't understand. You guys just must be confused on what plywood is.
Maybe.
It's the only thing that I can imagine.
Maybe we are. I don't know.
you think something else. Like I'm not like taking pieces of junk that like you get from off pallets or something.
I think it's stronger than plywood.
And it's a lot considerably better for hanging stuff, hanging tools and building, attaching shelving.
Right. I've
It's-
seen plywood walls. I've seen them in garages and basements. I have not seen them.
What-
You know,
How's it different? How's a garage different from a regular house?
because it's just
There's no weight on it at all.
What do you mean
There-
there's no
there's
weight
no-
on it?
It's not. It's just like a simple garage. It's just it's usually just four walls. It's just meant to be a roof.
Okay, four walls and a roof.
Which is basically a shelter. It's not a house. A house indicates that you want to make like adjustment. You want to live in it.
Okay, so what adjustments do I need to make to this garage to make it a house now?
A
got
garage isn't a
four
house. If you
it-
could build a garage, that's different. But you cannot say that that's what you're meaning is that I could build four walls and a roof.
Okay, no. Let me change things up here a little bit. You got a garage, four walls, has windows, has a door, like a normal one-person door.
It's
What
not a
needs
house.
to-
It's just one
okay.
big
So
room
I'm
garage.
reading up on this.
What needs to be changed to make it a house?
Does a garage have a bathroom, a kitchen, a sink, a bedroom, a living room, closets?
What's a bedroom? A bedroom is a bed. It's like I just put a bed down. I put
Oh
a
my
mattress down.
Oh
Okay,
my
well,
God,
what we're
yeah.
saying though is we already
Yeah.
said you could build a shed, and you said no, a house, and we said you could build a shack, and you said no, a house. So, if what you're describing is one room, just a building that is one room with a bed in it and a sink in it and a door,
Apparently, a hole
bed.
in the ground to shit in.
then
Because
that's not
there's
what
no plumbing.
Dmitri and I are calling a house.
I could
Because you
build a-
already said not
And
a
I think
shack.
I think
not-
a house has some. It has some like there is a little content that is pleasing to the eye. You know, a house has a what? I'm
It's not
losing
just a utilitarian.
there is
know,
more.
It's there is
You
some-
live
Now,
now.
all you're talking about is like
appeals.
interior stuff.
No, even the outside of a house, it's meant to look nice as well. Nobody says like, "Oh, this house looks like shit on the outside," but I'll just leave it that way.
Put up paneling and
There is design and style to a house. A house has style. A garage is merely there to
Always. But yeah, a garage has a certain unfinished.
here. Put it this way: a garage houses a car. A house houses a person.
Yeah.
what changes need to be made to the garage to make it a house?
No.
Is all I'm asking.
He just
No.
told you. For one,
What?
all of the things we just talked about. It needs
A
a bed.
bedroom? I could make a bedroom. That's just an extra wall. If I've already made the four walls for the garage, then I just make another wall and a door.
Yeah. But
So
your
there's a
house would
bedroom. Put a
your
mattress
house
down.
would be unfinished.
How would it be
would
unfinished
be-
though?
Exposed wire everywhere.
No,
it
because I
would
put the plywood up to. Garages don't have exposed wire.
Yeah, well, a lot of them do.
That's because usually they just have like a light.
Yeah.
What kind of garages are
I
you
see what you're
seeing?
saying. See what you're saying. If we
I don't
we-
agree with what he's saying.
Dimitri and I change our view of what a house is, and we're just talking about a simple dwelling. Four walls and a roof type deal. You could even build some interior walls.
Yeah, I'm sure he could build that. Well, no,
No,
I really,
No, he couldn't
Yeah.
even.
yeah, I'm not gonna.
But it's easier
How do you?
And
So
I'm
Liam, how do
reading
you?
right now, and it says that plywood is sometimes used for walls. I find out.
Right, then I'm wrong.
Drywall is the standard, but sometimes they'll use plywood. And the difference, I think, is that Dimitri and I, we're thinking of a very specific kind of plywood, but plywood comes in many
It's
kinds.
because I have no knowledge about building a house.
Right. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
But here's the thing, Liam. I'm not gonna play into this anymore. I'm not going to. I'll say that you could probably build 4 walls and a roof, maybe,
No,
maybe.
he'd have trouble because the other thing is that you're not thinking about it. It's like
Yeah. How do you
in
how do you
order
put
to
up the
make
4 walls, Liam? What do you do when you get one up? Like
You
what
build
do
the
you do?
second one up, and once you
Yeah,
have the
but
second one, you can
how?
support.
how do you make sure that the corners are connected and all that?
You build one wall flat, and then you build the other wall going up at 90-degree angle, and then you move them up. Then you move them down.
And and do what to them?
Once they're connected, once they're joined together, they're
How are they
stable.
joined together is what I'm asking.
Nail it down.
Okay, but do you know how to do that? Because you can't just pick any 2 spots in a piece of wood and just nail it together.
I know how to nail wood together.
Do you know how to nail walls together?
Yes.
What are you just gonna put this house on the ground?
Concrete slab.
A concrete slab?
Yeah, a concrete foundation. Concrete slab
Do you
foundation.
lay the concrete?
What?
Do you know how to lay concrete?
Yeah, you mix it and spread it out.
Okay, you have to like, make sure it's level.
Yeah, you got a leveler. Got
And
got
how
one
do
of
you
those.
connect the walls to the foundation?
And you can't just lay concrete. Like it needs to be contained, and then you need to have
Yeah,
the foundation
you
prepared for
you dig out your little spot that you're gonna fill with the concrete.
it just in the ground.
No, it's gonna be floating above the ground.
No, you're just gonna put it in the ground like a pool.
Basically, yeah.
I don't
See,
think
and
right.
again, like
I
you're
don't
constituting a house as like I finished this this place where I am going to sleep. Like
I think you're just putting more into a house. I mean, how is like
a house is a place that you live in. You live in. Like you're not living in this place. You're just surviving in it. You're just
No, I have been to many hunting cabins in my day.
yeah.
Many.
Okay. A tree house maybe.
And hunting cabins is what Liam is thinking of and describing. These are, and people for seasons, sometimes even, will live in them. And I suppose the distinction between them and a house is pretty blurred. But those are typically very rudimentary. Sometimes they just have like, metal sheeting for walls or whatever. And they'll have just like they won't have a foundation. They'll just have
But
posts around and then an
is
elevator floor, which is just plywood.
is
And
that long term and is that hospitable? Like do you like are you I mean,
do
are you
people live in those year round as their like home with their mailbox and stuff? No, absolutely not.
but here's the thing. Could you build a house that would be passed like okay by the governing housing board of that neighborhood?
Yeah.
Because I think they would constitute what a house
I
is.
wouldn't build it in a neighborhood. I would buy a plot of land somewhere.
Okay, fair enough. Fair
I
enough.
mean that I guess that's fair, but still like it
Okay,
doesn't
how
exactly
about this?
that isn't a house needs to be with other house. I don't know.
No, that's
No,
I'll give
a
that
house.
one to Liam. But
Oh my!
back to a different question. How do you connect the walls to the foundation?
Hey, he does, I don't know, right?
I mean, I don't know.
Neither do I. Neither do
Well,
I. But
how about this?
he's not giving anything either. You
What's
can't just make this claim. You can't.
What about this? You talking about this hunting cabin? Now,
Yeah.
let's say I build a hunting cabin.
It's
Yeah.
not a house.
Well,
How no,
I would still give it to him because I don't even think he can do that.
no. Let me talk. Let's say I build a hunting cabin, okay, or I find a hunting cabin even. Could I not do what's necessary to turn the hunting cabin into a house?
What do you mean? No, that's not
It's already
what.
built.
Yeah,
Say that
That-
again.
that's already been. It's been built. Half of it's done.
Okay, so let's say I build a hunting cabin. Would I not be able to finish it and turn it into a house?
No, if you could get that far, you probably could finish it and turn it into a house. I don't think you can get that far.
It's like you're making this weird, arbitrary definition of a house. And
No, it's no, no. It's just no. Okay, like a shelter and a house.
Even
It's
those
just
shacks,
you
I
would.
think another difference is permanence. So like those shacks,
Well, that's why I said it's long term. They don't. Those people are not. They don't build that with the intention of staying there as their
right,
home.
that with the intention of coming there once a year or once a month or whatever for like a day or two.
You should look at a house and be like, I'm fine living there. I'm fine living there for a year.
and what about those people who like will buy a bus and fix that and turn that into a house?
That's already built, and then they're using like plans. They're not saying I know how to do this. They're getting plans and,
Yeah.
and stuff.
That
They're not
okay.
getting planned.
The main argument is that these people probably learned how to do this stuff at one point or another. They didn't just say, "I can do it,"
Right.
and
But
they learned through the process. Through the process, they learned from people and like help and read and stuff. They didn't just say, "I can do it."
I've
Right.
done
I don't.
these things though. I've done a lot of these things.
You've done them on a house that's already built. Like
I've
you've made repairs. You've made
no,
repair.
I've done more than repairs. I mean, I've installed a window. I mean, we had to put up a window in a like in our electrical course. We had like a little we had a little structure we had to install a window into. I know how to
Right.
put a
The
window.
structure is already built. I know how to install a window. I've installed a window.
Okay, so I mean, it's like why couldn't I build a window? Why can't I build a house and put a window in? Like I don't.
Sure that you put the window in hasn't been built yet, and I don't think you know how to do that. I just think that there's so many things that none of us are even thinking about because we don't know what we're talking about. But like
Yeah, I have
the
no clue what I'm talking about. The
the
only thing
wall,
I know
the
is
wall
that
isn't just a sheet of plywood that you put. Like there are there's 2x4s inside the wall that they keep its structure. I don't know how far apart to put those. I don't know what
I
kind of
really
2x4s to use for that. I don't know, you know, any of that stuff.
and we're even giving you like a great, I think, like starting point of saying here's all the materials that you
Yeah,
need. It's all here for you.
Okay, and
I don't know how to build a roof.
What?
A roof? How the heck do you build one of those?
I would just go with the standard the triangle shape. So you would have like an attic area almost if you wanted to.
Okay,
How?
yeah, but yeah, but how? I mean, I don't know.
You got the beams going across from the walls, and then you can put up a plywood ceiling, or you could have it exposed and it'd be like an A-frame.
Uh, Again, we could talk about this probably for a year, and I mean, we could then we could go out and do it and be like, well, fuck, I don't know.
You guys have you have no knowledge about any of this or how this field works.
No.
But no, we said that. We said that many times.
I mean, not even to any extent. I mean,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
I'm not questioning
God.
you, Richard, about skunks.
But
Saying you don't know
that's not
shit
what we're
about
saying.
skunks or
I never
how to
said
work at Walmart.
I never
question.
said I could write a scientific journal paper about skunks. I never once said right now, without thinking anything, I could write a paper on skunks. I didn't say that because that's not true. Because I would need to learn. You said you could build a house.
Yes, I could.
Because a very shitty house is not really livable. It's not a house.
I could build a house that someone could live in. I could build a better one if I had access to the internet, which you guys are somewhat for some reason taken away from me.
For some reason, that's the whole.
Oh my god.
I don't even think you guys could
That's
build
the
a house with internet.
cornerstone of cornerstone. I see
No,
what
we
of
didn't claim we
internet.
could. I agree with your statement. I probably couldn't build a house even with the internet.
Oh
I
yeah,
would-
even with it, I don't think I could.
I couldn't. Okay, but we never claimed that.
I don't know what to
Well,
say.
anyway, I really gotta go.
You
It's
guys
already
have no
it's like
idea like what I can do, what I've been learning, what I've.
no. In the end, I don't know what you can do, Liam. Maybe you can build a house. I just didn't believe you.
I don't care. I don't care. This whole art is so ridiculous now at this point.
But
I
like,
don't
how
want
do you even know? I mean, there's so many things about me that you guys don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Victor Frankenstein.
I mean,
It's your favorite character of all time.
like if one of you guys said you could do something, I wouldn't like question it because I don't know that you can't.
Yes, you would. If I said
I don't think building a house is that a ridiculous claim.
I mean, it's not. In general, it's not. People build houses all the time, but they don't just do it randomly. Like, just say, like, right now, I'm gonna go out there and do it by myself.
Yeah.
Like-
That'd be like saying, I don't know. To me, it maybe you know how to do it. Maybe you can do it. Maybe you could do it with ease. But that's hard for me to believe. In my brain, the way that statement works, that's like the equivalent of Dmitri just one day in a conversation that we're having for no reason saying that he could build a tank.
Yeah.
I would believe him.
And I would. No, you said you wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't. Liam, what would you do, huh?
It's different building a tank and building a house. I doubt there's
mean-
many people who can build a tank.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is
almost-
a little extreme.
I would almost doubt.
much
I would
harder.
almost doubt if there's anybody who could build a tank. I mean, those got to be factory made at this point. Machines.
Yeah, you're right. That was a bad example.
Terrible. It was a terrible example, Richard.
I can see that a little bit.
And
But
and
something.
and here's another thing too.
No
It-
way if I said something as ridiculous, like you would not just be like, I believe you, Dimitri. There's a lot of things I don't know about you. You know, I really don't think you can do that. Or I
Try
really think you
try
can do
something. Try me. Try something.
that. No, now it's no.
That doesn't make any. Yeah, no.
Just tell me something. Tell me.
Come up
Yeah,
with
you
a
could do
better
it.
example
You could do
than
it.
building a tank. Come up with a better
Okay,
example than
feel
building
like-
a tank.
Okay. Well, it'd be like him saying you could build a house, I guess.
It'd be like me saying I could make a video game. Like, I can make a video game like just right now. Like no, I couldn't. I don't know. There's no example that's going to cut it at this point. This whole conversation is dumb.
Yeah, it's all dumb.
Okay. Here's another thing too. I got the supplies. Who says I have to do everything right the first time? You know, there can be a little trial and error.
I
Yeah,
don't
Because,
care.
oh no, maybe I gotta fix that. Because the finishing steps are the easiest things to do. Putting up plywood is easy. Putting down carpet is easy.
Yeah.
The hardest part I could learn on the way too. I could like, oh no, that didn't really go together. I gotta fix that. I gotta go back, pull this out, put that back in over there.
I mean, so what you're saying is if you had years to do this, then you could get done.
Hey, time frame was never specified.
It's true,
Of
time
course.
was specified. But
I
It
don't
was,
I don't
but-
even have a time frame.
Yeah,
have no
I
idea how
know.
long
I
this
know
would
you don't. I thought of bringing that up, but I just didn't think it was necessary because I didn't think that you would,
take.
be
Too late.
taking years to build this house.
I don't think it would take years.
It probably wouldn't. It probably
Years is
wouldn't.
you would build something that you think works and it looks like it will work, and then you put it all together and then it works for like a day and like, look, I did it, and then it all falls apart.
How much do you remember about the room that I'm in right now, Dimitri?
I just remember it's just a shed.
But it's like finished. It's livable. I mean, you stayed
It's
there.
not. It doesn't have any sort of amenities in it at all.
I could put amenities if I wanted to, though, right?
Did you build that?
No, but I could build this. I don't even think it has a foundation. I just think it's just on the ground.
Definitely has a foundation.
I don't think it does because this is movable. I could put this on a truck and get it out of here.
Ah,
Regardless, like I said,
Like I
you
could
could build a
put-
house.
I could put a refrigerator and a stove and
I believe after probably even just like a year of learning about it, you could totally do it. But no,
Yeah.
I think you're just like,
I don't think I would need a year of learning about it. I think I could do it.
fine, I don't know, just a couple months of learning. I don't know. I believed if you learned about it, you could do it. But I don't think you've ever actually you've done many different things, but I don't think you've ever actually like compiled them all together and learned about it.
No, I could. I mean, there's nothing I can say to make you believe me.
Yeah, because you're not even saying anything about building a house.
I've said
You the whole
tons of
time.
things about being a house.
Like
How do
what?
you never answered any of my questions when I said, "How do you do this?"
Like I would nail the walls together and then raise them up. Like,
I
okay.
explained that you build one wall and you have it flat, and you build the second wall and you make it 90 degrees so it's sticking up in the air, and then
Yeah.
you tilt and then you lean them back together so they're both standing up in the L position. That's one corner. As long as you got that corner standing up straight
Yeah.
and proper, then you can build the other corners. Then you got 4 walls.
But I was more asking about the specifics. Like, I understand how to arrange walls into a square. I mean, how do you fasten them together?
Nails and a hammer.
Right, but how?
Hammering in the nail. Like, I mean, I don't
This
understand
is
this how.
um,
You hammer, you take the nail, you put it in the wood, and you hit the nail with the hammer. And
I honestly think the whole thing just stems from Liam saying I could build a house, and I thought maybe you thought Richard that he thought he was talking about like like a 1-2 bedroom just house, like doesn't have to be 2 stories, but just like a starter home. A couple moves into the starter home. That's a house, okay, costs like maybe like $60,000, something like that. And Liam just kind of thought his place.
so
But
how's the shack you're living in right now, Dimitri? Because it's clearly not a house,
It's an
right?
apartment.
So
It's an
I could build a standalone apartment then.
No, you can come to my apartment. You couldn't build this.
How big is it really though?
size
It,
is not the issue.
yeah, you could not build this because the walls are like they're like solid. I don't know. It's brick outside, like solid freaking concrete drywall or something. I don't know.
Well, I couldn't replicate it. I could like the layout and dimensions. It wouldn't be made of the same stuff.
It would be so poorly shambled. Yeah, I'm not. I don't even want to critique your skill because I know that you can do a lot of this stuff. I just don't think you can put it all together. Like you, ugh, I'm done. Done.
But
I'm
see,
done. It's gone on long enough that
And it,
I've
like I said,
I've gotten my goat's been gotten, Liam.
well,
Congratulations. You've
I've
got
explained how I could build the structure, right? And that's like that would be like the most difficult thing is just building the structure, making sure it's connect together and stable. After you've
yeah,
done
but
that,
a
everything else is
house
easy.
built of plywood would not stand for long.
Most houses are built of plywood.
No, they're not.
What do you think? You know when you look for a stud, what do you think that is? That you're Have you ever looked for a stud when you're about to hang something?
the studs are not made of plywood. They're 2x4s.
Well, yeah, 2x4s.
Yeah, that's different than plywood.
Okay, I build the structure out of 2x4s and then put the plywood up on the walls. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I've been.
that's
Maybe I haven't said
That's
that specifically, but that's what I've been saying.
God.
I wasn't going to build the entire house out of plywood.
no. I figured that that's what you meant. I still just, I mean, I figured that's what you meant.
Basically, this boils down to
Because
saying like
that you
you
were
probably
just gonna use plywood.
this boils us saying you probably couldn't do it, not because we don't believe in you, but just the fact that like it's just it's kind of it's I don't know.
I
It
have a
is
hard
there's
time believing that it's that easy to build a house. That
it's
like
not it's not that is like a real house.
See, you're just throwing this like real house. I think maybe it just stems from your being more specific on what you think a real house is.
It's not a
I mean,
garage that's been like plywood rooms. That's not a house.
how? Like, how is plywood walls make it not a house? Like, you got plywood, that's not a wall. Do you have drywall on your thing?
Oh my
On your
God,
do
this is
you have
ridiculous.
drywall in your apartment?
I'm not playing into it anymore. It's ridiculous. It's such a ridiculous statement that you would just say,
Okay,
I could build a
say-
house.
So you don't have drywall in your apartment is basically what you're saying. So that means you're not in a house. It doesn't have to be one thing. You can make it out of.
It's
No,
not. This is like
Liam,
it's
we're
like
not arguing
concrete
that
or
just
something.
because you're using plywood means it's not a house. I'm not even fully on Dimitri's side with the whole. I have loosey definitions of what a house is than he even does by the sounds of it. But either way, what you're building is like a house in the roughest sense. And part of the reason we thought the claim was so extreme was because that's just not what we were picturing.
Okay. Now, even if it's a house in the roughest sense, which I'm not giving you that, but let's say even if it is, it's still a freaking house. A house in the roughest sense is still a house.
Yeah. Anyway, my battery's at 5%. So
Oh my gosh. It's a great
I'm-
podcast, guys.
If I had,
that's the first time that one has really ended in like.
well, this is just getting you
Speed.
all prepared for the next podcast episode. Because I
You
do
know,
know what I
you
do
could
know what
build
we're
a
doing.
house. I hope you build a house, and I hope you rub it in my face. I don't care.
If I had money, it's 100% what I would do tomorrow. Is build a house. If I had the money. Let's see.
I'd love to see that like.
See, I
Snapchat
know.
tomorrow.
I know
Okay,
for a
just
fact
finished.
that
Let it go. Let this end.
If I had the money, I'd build a house tomorrow. Because I know if I build a house any other day but tomorrow, you're gonna call it, nah, you did more research, you did more studying.
that's not the point. The point is that you could build it right now.
Yes, I could.
Dimitri, let it go.
Well, people on podcasts are gonna agree with me because you guys just anyone who's listening, even though there's not gonna be anyone listening. But this is
Then you
all.
started- Then you started to say you don't know about the way this works. People don't know everything. Why would you say that if you did?
Because people don't know everything, but it's about the skill to be able to figure it out or learn or even on the fly.
All right, I'm done.
I mean, like when I done things, like
Done.
you don't realize the amount of stuff I have to fix.
Done.
Something,
I'm gonna leave unless we end the podcast.
Yeah, same.
I didn't want to fight with you.
I didn't want this.
I didn't ask for this. Okay, well, there's more of this to come.
That's
So
the
look.
last thing I'm gonna say. I hope you're not using an axe to cut any of the wood.
If that's a stipulation, then maybe I couldn't build a house.
Really? Because I think it should be the other way around. You don't have an axe. It might take you less time.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes, I can't build a house with an axe apparently. See, okay, here's what I'll say. I want to defend the axe real quick. And
What does that defend? You were talking up so much jazz about. I know how to use the axe correctly.
no, here's the
I
thing.
learned at Boy Scouts. Like,
No.
I believed you. I totally believed you as well. I did.
I did too.
Here's what
that's
I'll
something
say.
Like, I believe Liam can do it. Like,
Here's what I'll say. I know how to use an axe. I do not require. I do not possess the physical strength necessary to do
There
it.
isn't much physical strength. There's very little required.
Exactly.
It
I
wasn't
have-
the strength that was lacking
I have-
in your performance, Liam.
It
It
was.
was. It was the form.
There's the
No,
form.
the form was correct. I have very little physical strength.
No, the form was
The
definitely
form
not.
was not correct.
You look like an old lady trying to like beat a cat off of her porch.
Hence, because of the physical strength.
Yeah, but
Well, how do you expect to build a house then?
I got tools. I gotta have
What
my
do you-
tools.
Do you think you're stronger or weaker than me?
Probably say I'm weaker than you.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind then. I was gonna say because I did not have that problem with the axe.
I mean, come on. What do you think? What a question is that? You think I'm stronger or weaker? Of course I'm.
I'm not very strong either. I mean,
I mean, I would have tools. you know, they have tools that, I mean, I can hammer in a nail, but if somehow I couldn't, they have, you know, nail guns that you can. Not saying I would need it, but
It's all right. I mean, I guess I'm starting to believe you. Whatever, whatever. Just whatever.
Mhm.
God, if you listen to this at home, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna. I tell you what, I am going to like
Liam's
plug
gonna
the,
read this and be like, like I could probably build a shack.
I, no, this is all getting cut out. This podcast is only going to be Lego and politics.
Go editing the podcast again.
I'm going to like promote this. Like, guys, seriously, I know you haven't been watching my shit in a long time, and that's fine. But I want you to watch this. I want you to weigh in on this.
I don't care.
I'm going to tell my fans this, and they're probably going to maybe agree with me. Hopefully, agree with me.
I hope they do. Me loyal fans.
Now, I can end the podcast soon, but after I end it, I
Richard's
still.
gone.
Did he just leave randomly?
His phone probably died.
Okay, well, you know what? That's even better. Now, I'm going to end the podcast in a second, but I got one more thing I want to talk to you about, okay?
What?
Thanks for listening, guys, and we will see you next time.